What is going on, everyone? It's Justin here, and Apple just announced their brand new iPhone flagship lineup for 2020 this morning, and there's definitely a lot to talk about in terms of the models, configurations, improvements, and also most importantly, the differences between each one, because there's definitely a lot of questions, and in this video, my goal is to provide you with the features, the changes, and also give some of you guys some advice as to which one you should go ahead and purchase, depending on what your needs are and what type of consumer you are. If you guys are excited for some videos of the iPhone as soon as I get my hands on it, I definitely got a lot of videos planned. Just make sure you subscribe to the channel, drop a like on this video, and I'd also love to hear down in the comment section below what your favorite features are of this year's flagship lineup. So in total, there's 4 different models, which brings the total number of iPhones you can choose from to 5 for 2020. And I think that is always very exciting because the more choice for consumers and the wider price point within the same lineup, the better. You have the iPhone SE from earlier this year that starts at $399, as well as the iPhone 12 mini, the iPhone 12, the iPhone 12 Pro, and the iPhone 12 Pro Max, with sizes ranging all the way from 5.4 inches to 6.7 inches for the flagship offerings. When it comes to price, the iPhone 12 mini starts at a price of $699 and goes up to $1099 for the 12 Pro Max. So beginning with the iPhone 12 Pro and Pro Max, the first thing you're really going to notice is that the design is new. For the first time since the iPhone 10, it has like a new fundamental look to it, and although the characteristics are the same with the notch on the front, it definitely looks sleeker, easier to grip, and just better overall in my opinion. The edges are nice and squared off with kind of like a polished finish, and the back is the frosted glass that I actually really enjoy on the iPhone 11 Pro. The Pro model is going to be available in both a 6.1 and a 6.7 inch option, which I think is the perfect combination because in previous years, the smallest and largest model of the iPhone was the Pro model. This Pro model is also going to be available in 3 different configurations for storage at 128, 256, and 512. So no more 64, which is always nice to see. They're slowly phasing that out, and they're going to double the storage of the base option. It is also going to be available in 4 different colors, including the gold, silver, graphite gray, and a new blue option, which I'm personally very excited about because I wasn't the biggest fan of like the forest green look on the iPhone 11 Pro. So I think that is going to be the one that I'm going to go ahead and pick up, and it kind of goes in line with the new Apple Watch Series 6 coming in navy blue as well. When it comes to the processor, it uses the A14 chip that we first saw announced on the iPad Air. I feel like the general consumer doesn't really want me to go into detail of like the A14 chip technology, but is a 5nm chip with a 6-core processor and 4-core GPU, as well as a 16-core neural engine for machine learning. The new iPhone 12 Pro also has a Super Retina XDR OLED display, which is new for this year. On the larger iPhone, it is a 2778 by 1284 resolution at a 458 ppi, and the smaller iPhone 12 is a 2532 by 1170. It has HDR support and a max brightness of 1200 nits while viewing HDR, a P3 color gamut, haptic touch, a 2,000,000:1 contrast ratio, and I think you're going to be able to take advantage of it most when viewing videos that were shot on this phone. The glass that Apple is using this year is made in collaboration with Corning once again, and it is called the Ceramic Shield, and uses like some sort of crystallization step in the process that gives you increased toughness, but the bottom line is that they claim 4 times better drop resistance. One of the things I was most excited to see though is how Apple can improve the camera this year, because in the past year we've seen many improvements and breakthroughs in the space around the market. You've got crazy zoom, you have 8K video recording, and you also have great low light performance. The new iPhone has a triple camera setup with the addition of a LiDAR, and when it comes to the specs specifically, the standard wide angle is now a f1.6 aperture to let in more light, and the iPhone 12 Pro Max model has a 47% larger sensor size than the smaller iPhone 12 Pro. The smaller iPhone 12 Pro will deliver a 27% improvement in low light performance, whereas the 12 Pro Max is going to give you an 87% improvement thanks to the larger sensor. I think what is also really cool is the RAW capabilities, because as someone who edits all of my photos, being able to adjust the settings specifically in Lightroom as well as the built-in Photos app is a great feature that I've been waiting to come on an iPhone. The telephoto camera is also another area where there is a difference. The iPhone 12 Pro has a 12 megapixel f2.0 52mm sensor, which is 4x optical zoom, whereas the larger Pro Max has a 65mm focal length, which is 5x optical zoom, but the aperture is f2.2. The video area is another part that Apple talked a lot about and really excited me because for the very first time, the iPhone can record in HDR 10-bit as well as Dolby Vision, which is the first phone to be able to do that. This can give you incredible dynamic range, and based on some of the demos and how they talked about how it uses like the histogram to grade the footage and get the maximum output from it, as someone who's really gotten into color grading lately, I can't wait to check this out. The improved stabilization on the main camera is also something that I'm excited for. So before I talk about the next thing, I want to give a huge thanks to the sponsor of this video, Vessi, and their waterproof shoes. So for those who don't know, I live in the west coast of Canada, and it is actually raining as we speak. It is one of the rainiest parts of Canada, and with the winter season coming up, this is a great everyday shoe for anyone who's looking for something that is waterproof, stylish, and comfortable. For those who might remember, I used to collect a lot of shoes, and one thing that was in common with all those pairs is that it's just not something that you want to wear when it's like rainy or dirty out because they're going to show wear and it's going to hurt the value. The big selling point with the Vessi lineup is that they are waterproof, slush-proof, dust-proof, and also slip-proof. So as like a very low-key, everyday pair that is available in many different colors, it is at least really able to keep your feet nice and dry. It is made out of a dual climate knit material that makes the shoe very comfortable and breathable, so it keeps you cool in the summer and warm in the winter. One thing that I definitely noticed is that it is very lightweight, and I can just say, like, from looking at the pair of shoes, you can definitely dress them up or down. I think today is a day where it's like perfect to go outside and see how this is able to stand against the water. And as you can see from this test, it is 100% waterproof as advertised. So if you guys are looking for a nice everyday pair of shoes to keep you dry and comfortable if you're walking a lot, especially in the winter season, then I'm gonna drop a link down below. And if you guys go ahead and visit the link vessi.com/JustinSay and use the code JSay, you can get $25 off your purchase. Apple also introduced something today called MagSafe on both the iPhone models, and this gives you faster charging at 15 watts. And what's also cool is some of the elements that are built in that are compatible with accessories that align the phone and can also keep it hanging on something like a phone car mount. They've also released a couple accessories with it, such as a card holder or a sleeve, and many other companies are going to be making accessories for the MagSafe as well. Apple themselves also announced a wireless charging pad that has a dock for an Apple Watch as well, and it is foldable for travel. But now moving on to the lower price iPhone 12 and 12 mini, and this is going to be at a very attractive price point with some of the new improvements and features that Apple has brought over that share a lot with the iPhone 12 Pro and Pro Max. So for starters, it is available in a 5.4 and a 6.1 option, and the storage configurations are 64, 128, and 256. The first kind of update that brings you a lot of great value that is carried over from the main flagship is the fact that it now has an OLED display. Previously, the lower price Apple flagship had a LCD panel, and although that wasn't bad by any means, when you compare it side by side, the OLED was obviously going to be a little bit better. It also has the same ceramic shield front face cover that the iPhone 12 Pro has, and when it comes to the design, it shares a lot of characteristics as well. The edges are nicely squared off. It is actually made out of aluminum instead of stainless steel. On paper, the iPhone 12 is 11% thinner, 15% smaller, and 16% lighter than the iPhone 11, and that is thanks to the bezels being smaller on the side. And the back gives you the glossy glass finish and comes in 5 different colors. These options include black, white, red, blue, and green, and personally I'm someone who would just go with like a plain black or white color, but I'm curious to hear what you guys think is your favorite color of this lower price lineup. As for the camera last year, it is going to be a dual setup, including a main wide angle and an ultra wide, which is what I feel like a lot of people prefer over having a telephoto as the secondary. On paper, the camera on the iPhone 12 is a f1.6 aperture at 12 megapixels, the 7-element lens that you have on the iPhone 12 Pro as well, and optical image stabilization. The secondary camera is an ultra-wide at a 120-degree field of view, and that comes in at an aperture of f2.4. What both these phones are going to have though is 5G, which has been a big talk, and I feel like some people are going to care about this function more than others, depending on the infrastructure. Where I live, 5G is not exactly big yet, but both these phones are able to have 5G capabilities and can automatically switch between 5G and 4G depending on what is the most efficient method. And the other thing that both of these phones are going to ship in common is pretty much nothing in the box aside from a lightning cable. You're not going to have the power brick or the earbuds, and Apple would say that it's for like environmental reasons, but the reality is I feel like a lot of the value that they've added to these devices kind of makes sense in terms of the trade-off, especially when it comes to the Pro models having double the storage and 5G support across the board, which is obviously more expensive components. Either way, I feel like for a $1 trillion company, it is disappointing to a degree, but it is what it is. So when it comes to talking about which model is the best for you, I feel like you've got the best options that Apple has pretty much ever offered in the iPhone lineup. Back in the day, you only had one choice, and that made things either very easy or very difficult. But now you have a phone that starts at $399 that came out this year, has an updated processor that will get upgrades, but also an iPhone 12 mini that has the same A14 as the iPhone 12 Pro, the same great camera, an OLED display, and it comes in at a price of under $700. I think for most people, the 6.1-inch option of the iPhone 12 is going to be the one that you're going to want to go with, because when it comes to value, even if you spend $899, it is still going to be about $200 cheaper than the same configuration size of the iPhone 12 Pro. But at the same time, when you look at it, $200 in the long run is not exactly that much money if you're keeping your phone for 2 to 3 years. And in that case, say you want to have a third camera, if you're planning to get 128 gigs on the iPhone 12, then I would say you might as well spend the extra money to get the base model of the 12 Pro, which gives you double the storage. And I feel like Apple's always been very good at like strategizing their lineup that way, and with the MacBooks especially, the decision is extremely hard when you look at the price to money ratio of the step up from like the baseline to the secondary. And that is when you look at it from a price to value standpoint in terms of what you're getting from like a base model into the mid options. If you're really going to be taking a lot of pictures on your iPhone though, then the 12 Pro Max is going to be the one that makes a lot of sense. It's got the larger sensor, which is ultimately going to give you better performance, and it also has the 5x optical zoom, which is something that an iPhone has obviously never had, and that is an area that Apple has obviously been a bit behind on because Android phones have had 5x optical for like over a year and a half. But otherwise, I would love to hear what you guys think down in the comment section below. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you drop a like, and I'm gonna try to get these phones in my hands as soon as possible, hopefully before the release, and I'll see you guys in the next video.